Don the Dragon Wilson is one of the most successful and respected kickboxers in history. A real fighter whose achievements in the ring and on screen have made him a legend of modern martial arts. He was born on September 10, 1954 in Alton, Illinois, and grew up in Cocoa Beach, Florida. His father was American and his mother was Japanese, giving Wilson a multicultural upbringing that would later shape his martial arts philosophy. He attended Cocoa Beach High School and studied engineering at the Florida Institute of Technology before his life took a very different turn. Wilson began his martial arts training in the late 1960s. He started with Goju-Ryu karate and later trained in Okinawan Kempo under the instruction of his older brother, James Wilson, a US Army veteran and established martial artist. Don developed a disciplined, technical approach that emphasized adaptability, something that would become his greatest strength in combat sports. By the 1970s, kickboxing was emerging as a hybrid system that blended karate, Muay Thai, and Western boxing. Wilson entered his first professional kickboxing match in 1974, and although his early record was mixed, he quickly refined his style, combining speed, power, and strategy. His ability to adapt to opponents and fight across different weight classes made him stand out in an evolving sport. Over the next 2 decades, Don Wilson built one of the greatest records in kickboxing history. He competed internationally, facing champions from the United States, Europe, and Asia. He fought under multiple sanctioned bodies, including the WKA, PKA, and ISKA, often holding world titles simultaneously. By the time he retired from full-time competition, his official record stood at 72 wins, 5 losses, and 2 draws, with 47 wins coming by knockout. Wilson was a 10-time world champion across multiple organizations and weight divisions. He fought opponents from Japan, Thailand, Canada, and across the United States. His fights were characterized by calculated precision rather than reckless aggression. He relied on timing, distance, and endurance, earning a reputation for outlasting opponents who were often younger or physically larger. One of his most famous bouts took place in 1980 when he defeated world-ranked fighter Andy White by knockout, establishing himself as a legitimate world-class competitor. Over the years, he faced and defeated numerous champions, including Maurice Smith, Denis Alexio, and Branko Cikatic, all of whom would go on to become icons of the sport in their own right. Wilson's nickname, the Dragon, came from his Asian heritage and his calm but lethal fighting style. In interviews, he often emphasized that his success came not from raw aggression, but from intelligence and adaptability. He studied every opponent carefully, using ringcraft and strategy to dismantle them. Outside of competition, Wilson was an early advocate for professionalism and safety in martial arts. He campaigned for standardized rules and fair pay for fighters at a time when kickboxing lacked the structure of mainstream boxing. He also supported women's participation in combat sports long before it became widely accepted. By the late 1980s, his dominance in the ring made him a sought-after name in Hollywood. Producers saw in him what few martial artists could deliver: genuine fighting ability combined with screen charisma. His first major acting role came in 1988 with Blood Fist, a film produced by Roger Corman. It was an independent action film set in the world of underground martial arts tournaments. Despite its low budget, Blood Fist became a cult hit and launched Wilson's acting career. Over the following decade, he starred in a series of Blood Fist sequels, becoming one of the defining faces of 1990s martial arts cinema. The series eventually reached 8 installments, all featuring Wilson as either the protagonist or a reimagined version of his character. These films stood out because Wilson's fight scenes were authentic. There were no exaggerated wire effects or impossible acrobatics. What audiences saw on screen reflected what he had actually done in the ring. In addition to Bloodfist, Wilson appeared in more than 30 feature films and television projects, including Ring of Fire, Out for Blood, Red Sun Rising, and Cyber Tracker. His performances combined real martial arts technique and storytelling, earning him a loyal fan base. He also collaborated with other legitimate fighters such as Cynthia Rothrock and Billy Blanks, creating a generation of action movies that featured real martial artists rather than purely stunt-trained actors. Unlike many fighters who transitioned to acting, Wilson continued to compete throughout his film career. He never officially retired from the ring during his Hollywood years, often returning to fight world-ranked opponents between film projects. In 1999, at the age of 45, he fought Dick Kimber and won by knockout, proving that his skills had not diminished. He also fought exhibitions well into his 50s, demonstrating that his conditioning and technical precision remained world-class. Wilson's longevity as a fighter was due to his disciplined training and deep understanding of the human body. He trained methodically, avoided unnecessary punishment, and adapted his techniques to minimize wear and injury. Over the years, Don Wilson has received numerous honors for his contributions to martial arts. He's been inducted into the World Kickboxing League Hall of Fame, the Martial Arts History Museum Hall of Fame, and the International Sports Hall of Fame. He's widely recognized as one of the most successful American kickboxers of all time, alongside figures such as Benny the Jet Quides and Bill Superfoot Wallace. Beyond the ring and screen, Wilson also worked as a martial arts ambassador, conducting seminars worldwide. He continues to teach with principles of effective striking and strategy, focusing on balance, timing, and the mental aspects of combat. He often emphasizes that martial arts are not just about fighting, but about self-control, humility, and personal growth. In interviews, Wilson has spoken candidly about the early struggles of the sport and the lack of sponsorship, the inconsistent rules, and the dangerous conditions fighters often faced in the 1970s and 1980s. His efforts to bring legitimacy and respect to kickboxing helped lay the groundwork for later generations of combat sports, including modern mixed martial arts. Wilson's influence also extends to film. His commitment to showing real technique on screen influenced a generation of martial arts filmmakers who wanted authenticity rather than choreography. His combination of credibility, athleticism, and screen presence helped bridge the gap between real combat sports and cinematic martial arts. Today, well into his 60s, Don the Dragon Wilson remains active. He continues to train, act, and mentor young martial artists. He said that his goal is to inspire people to pursue excellence, whether in martial arts, acting, or personal life. His message has always been consistent. Success is not about aggression or fame, but about discipline, persistence, and integrity. With more than 70 professional victories, 10 world titles, and over 3 decades in film, Wilson stands as one of the few martial artists to have conquered both the ring and the screen. He earned his reputation not through promotion or exaggeration, but through performance and proof. In a career that spans nearly half a century, Don Wilson has represented what martial arts truly mean. Not just the art of fighting, but the art of mastering oneself. He brought realism to action cinema and professionalism to kickboxing, and in doing so secured his place as one of the most accomplished and enduring figures in martial arts history. If you'd like to hear us talk about more areas of martial arts, culture, and far more, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.